So how about we call the meeting to order of the Woodbury Select Board on Monday, March 10th, 2025 at 6:03. Any adjustments to the Select Board agenda?
I have some.
Yep. Okay.
I forgot to put on here that the first thing we have to do in our first meeting after town meeting is to organize the board, elect a chair and a clerk. We have to specify the time, place, and schedule of our future meetings, and we have to note what is going to be our newspaper of record for legal notices. And another adjustment to the agenda is I'm asking to do a little executive session at the end here.
For personnel.
Yeah.
Compensation. Yeah. Executive session.
1 VSA 313A3.
Okay.
Was someone coming here to talk about a question about the roads?
No,
Oh, okay.
but that's, I'm going to bring that up under other business.
Okay.
Dates and other business. So, yeah, I suggested that she not come today.
Okay.
So we have minutes to approve from our February 24th meeting as well as our...
Okay.
Sorry, no, do you have more adjustments?
Well, we got to do that organization. So we could either do that before or after the minutes.
Want to do it right after public comment?
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
All right. How about, so we have to approve minutes from the February 24th and the February 27th pre-town meeting. I've had a chance to look at them.
I will make a motion that we approve them both, February 24th regular meeting and February 27th pre-town meeting forum.
All right. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes from February 24th and February 27th pre-town meeting forum as written, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. So the minutes are approved. I don't believe we have any public here for comment. Nobody on Zoom. So we will go on to organizing the board after town meeting.
Do you want to sign the minutes right now? Or?
Yeah, we'll sign the minutes right now.
You don't have to sign the...
I was wondering about that. The one I
Yeah,
wasn't
no,
at.
you weren't there for that
Okay.
one, so you don't. But you were there,
Can I use
at
your
least
pen?
on Zoom for that
I
one.
did not realize mine was orange.
Oh,
Thank you.
Chris?
All right, so Dana, can you remind me again, we need to choose a chair for the board. We need to choose a treasurer. No, not a treasurer, a clerk for the board. And which paper we will post, which
Right.
papers. Is it more than one?
No,
Just one.
there only has to be one. I mean, we've used more than one, but there has to be one official one. So I'd like to nominate Chris Casey to chair the board for the next year.
I'll accept the nomination. Any other nominations?
I'll nominate Diana to be
Yeah.
clerk.
Oh, well, let's do the chair first.
Oh, okay. No other
No
nominations?
other nominations? All right. Any discussion?
No, oh, no.
Hearing none. All those in favor of, I guess, having me chair the board for the next year, please say aye.
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 All right, motion passes. Thank you, Jerome. All right, and do you want to make your motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion for Diana to be clerk.
I will accept that nomination.
Thank you.
And
No, wait till they vote.
We might say no.
Please, Diana.
Oh, my goodness.
I assume there's no discussion. All right, all those in favor of Diana being the clerk for the next year, please say aye.
Aye.
Right,
Aye. Motion passes. Diana, thank you for doing that.
thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you for
chair.
trusting me.
You're welcome. And any suggestions or recommendations for what paper? I mean, we have been putting it in the Times Argus, is
Yeah,
that true?
I was advised, the last time I checked into this at the, advised by BLCT, that it has to be a newspaper that's in print.
Okay,
So even though we don't have any papers that are delivered door to door anymore here, or any place where you can pick one up, unless you have a good friend who does it every morning, like I do. So yeah, it kind of has to be the Times Argus.
okay. You want to make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that Times Argus be our legal, official newspaper of record for legal notices.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of making the Times Argus our newspaper of legal record, is that the correct title? Mm-hmm. Please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Times Argus it is.
And then we have to announce the schedule and time and place of our meetings. So I guess I would suggest that we make it the second and fourth Mondays, 6 o'clock, Woodbury Library Community Room.
And can that change? Like, can we change
Oh,
that
sure.
at any point
Oh,
during the
sure.
year? Okay. I had some ideas about possibly how we can distribute some of the work here, which would, we don't need to talk about it right now, but one thought I had was that perhaps one of our Mondays a month could be a working Monday, that we would, as a board, tackle some of the things, and that we could, and we could talk about this at any time, but that we could like maybe slim our agenda down on that evening and respond to emails, make phone calls, do those things as a board together, and that it might make sense that we do that at the town clerk's office, because maybe some of the things we need might be there. But
Well, I mean, it still has to be a public meeting, but
yeah, for sure.
make it so public doesn't.
We can talk about it, but as long as we can change that schedule at any point, then I don't see any reason why we shouldn't move ahead with that as our schedule in place. Is there any other discussion besides mine?
Just I like your idea.
Okay, great. I like my idea too. All right, hearing none, all those in favor of having our meetings on the first and third Monday of the month? Nope. Thank you, Robin. Help me out here. Second and fourth Monday of the month
That somebody's paying attention.
here at the library. Please say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All right, motion passes. That's where we'll have our meetings and when we'll have our meetings.
There is one other thing I forgot to add.
All right.
I'm gonna try to add it under. We need to appoint somebody to sign these overweight permits.
I would appoint, like we can appoint someone, or
I guess we can
Yeah.
just select someone, yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be fancy. But
you are willing to continue to do that?
I'm willing to do that, because I'm more around, and sometimes people don't want to wait 2 weeks to get their overweight permits, so,
Great.
okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, have we sufficiently organized the board? Nothing else?
I'm sure there's something else I forgot.
That'll be my problem from now on. Robin, town clerk's report.
First of all, I would like to thank everybody that helped out for both of the town meetings. One March 1st on Saturday and then again on the 4th on the Tuesday. Thank you all very pick up, clean up, the whole bit. Thank you. And we have received the Brookfield service contract for the generator here and minor service, and that's what we did last year because they were having too much problems with it. And that's $1,615.
What's it called, Brooks? Field.
You guys can have that to
The,
think about.
Do you know if we had to get a hold of them throughout the last year and have them come to do any major services that were covered in the contract?
Not that I remember hearing.
Okay.
so the difference also is there are 2 visits a year, and the more expensive one. There's only one complete annual major service for the $899 or $854 if prepaid by April 15th. Yeah, $50 off.
No, the new contract's there in the front.
Oh, okay.
So they said it had to be back by February 27th, and the school had it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, so it doesn't say 2 visits a year, but I guess that's what they mean by major and minor service, you think?
I would think so.
Come once, come twice, they're not gonna do them both at the same time, so. Look at anything else?
This ideally is decided this evening, because it was due back February 27th, I assume.
Yeah, we should have had it before then.
Yeah, okay. Can you give me what's the overall, what's the summary of it again?
Trying to figure that out right now, but so there's a program one is major service for $991, because we've already passed the prepaid date. Program 2 is major and minor service for $1,615, and I am trying to figure out the difference. Here, you want to look too?
Program 2 doesn't seem to get you all that much.
Right, I would kind of think it might make sense to do the program number 2 at like every other year. You know, like we did it last year, so maybe this year we could get away with program number 1. But I'm no generator expert.
I think the generator's getting old. Last time it was talked about, I think.
Okay.
So maybe twice a year. I think that's why we went with twice a year last year.
So last year we had twice a year. Yeah.
Right?
But no matter what, if we have a problem, these folks still come out and service and we end
Right.
up
Right.
paying
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
I guess I'd be inclined to go with program 1 if it was my own generator.
Kind of how I
but,
feel too.
I could be convinced otherwise. Save $700.
So 100 people took the survey, and of the 165 said they favored continuing a town meeting. 19 said that they didn't have an opinion one way or the other. 17 said they preferred to not have a town meeting. So, you know, it was, as samples go, that's a pretty average. 10% is a pretty, it was above 10%. That's pretty average. Maybe with a little more promotion, you get more people to respond to it. But in the survey, it was clear cut that the preference was for a town meeting. Yeah. But as Lizzie notes, at the special town meeting, there's one vote difference.
John, if you're gonna send out another survey, I'm wondering, just to give it some context, would you maybe want to put in a little blurb that explains you know, that we had switched town meeting to Saturday, but that it hasn't increased the attendance. And I think it might make a difference how people vote, because like, I know I personally would rather have it on Tuesday. But I would be inclined to vote for Saturday to try to open it up to more people. But if I already knew that that hadn't helped bring more people, then I'd
Yeah,
wanna vote for it to be
Yeah.
open.
my suggestion, if you wanna go this, is, that we put together a draft survey and bring it to the select board. To take a look at it before we publish it, before we put it online.
If you're willing, I'd be supportive of that.
I am.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Diana, you agree?
Sure. I don't know what about the timing, whether it's kind of early in the year, I mean, we've got a whole year to.
My suggestion would be to do it while it's still relatively fresh in people's minds.
I agree.
So probably come back at the next meeting,
Okay.
and I'll get it to you before the meeting. So the only thing I'd add to Stephen talking about the flow of this meeting is nothing like having the aroma of hot lunch when you're voting, when you're having budget issues and things like that.
Short
Things went pretty fast.
Can I ask where you posted that survey when you last did it? Was it just on Front Porch?
So it was on Front Porch Forum, on Facebook, the Facebook group, and we mailed a postcard to every household in town with the URL of the survey.
Nice. Did we have anything posted at the town clerk's office too?
We had extra hard copies of
Oh,
the,
great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And there were, right, the postcard said if you prefer to not do it online, go to the town clerk's office and get a paper copy. I think maybe 2 people did that.
Any other reflections about town meeting? Anyone? Well, thanks, guys. Yeah. Steve, nice job. Keep things moving. Thank you. Thank you. Lily,
Oh,
it
yes.
is time for the town treasurer's report.
Awesome. Well, I'm not gonna bury the lead. We finally got our FEMA money. So we got, skipping down to electronic transfers, we got, if I watch this, $815,215.37 this past week. So very exciting there. Our total income, cash receipts, for the last 2 weeks was $7,766.33. The majority of that is from delinquent taxes at $7,222.53. Our expenses for the last 2 weeks, payroll is $9,772.14. And accounts payable $18,297.52. The majority of the FEMA money right now is sitting in our money market, hopefully gaining some interest right there.
I'd like to, I never understood where the FEMA money went in our budget.
Okay,
And this time I think it might be important to keep track of this particular pot of money because we're gonna have to ask for approval for spending other than beyond the 2 bridges. So I wonder if we should set up a special fund.
we do have it in a fund that's specifically labeled as FEMA 2023 mitigation funds. Kind of there where we can pull from it for other mitigation next.
So where's that? Would that be on this? FEMA flooding from, okay, that's it. Okay. So for the $787, so some of it's already been spent, or was there a negative there to begin with?
I don't believe there should have been a negative there, but let me look deeper into that. I don't have an exact answer right now.
Thank you. And yeah, that was very exciting, Skip. Good news.
Yeah, really excited.
I wonder if some of our FEMA people that have been cycling on and off are worried about losing their job and just starting to
But we can get to that.
Okay.
I have a long talk about my FEMA funds.
Yeah.
So Diana, you just mentioned some of the funds that were drawn down from the FEMA account. Was there some negative amount?
Oh, yeah, it says
Associated with it?
700 and something. 787,102, and she just put in 815,215, so there's just a little,
Yeah.
$20,000-$30,000.
In addition to the 815,000.
No, she said here that the 850 was just went in, and where it went in, the balance now is 787.
I see.
So if it just went in. And now the balance is 787.
Yeah.
Where did that money go? Because the 815 is just for mitigation project.
Yeah,
And so the construction on town highways 23 and 24 hasn't started.
right,
So that's the only way we could draw down money
yeah.
initially from that account, from the 815,000.
Hmm.
So no one should really touch it.
So you should be able to can't you just click on that and have it?
Yes, essentially I can just go in there, see if there was anything charged in that fund. If there wasn't, the money needs to be moved, then we can move it. But that 815,000 is still there, just not reflecting its full amount, in the other ones.
It's important that we not touch that money.
Yeah.
Right now.
So just to clarify, so that was, that account or that line item was overdrawn, that's why, when this 815 was deposited,
Yes.
it doesn't reflect it.
Essentially, a certain amount of money was taken out of that account. And then when we put that money in, it rebalanced to 787. Which I just need to go in there, see what was charged in that fund.
Okay.
And if it needs to be moved, I can move it.
In last month's report, which I don't usually keep it, but I did, was it negative 27,691 to start with. So that would add up
Yeah.
pretty much.
Absolutely. Is there a way you can set up a separate money market account just for this $815,000?
A separate money market account?
Yeah, just for this money, so no one can touch it.
I can look into that. I wouldn't necessarily know if that is necessary,
Oh, well,
but I can look into that and see if it would be
if it was
worthwhile.
deposited into an account that had a negative balance.
Oh, okay, so these reports come from NIMRIC, which is,
Understand.
yeah, my understanding is that it's like, how do I wanna say this? Like a mirror of what we're doing. So. Robin, do you know how to explain this?
I can
So
speak to that.
essentially, it's the money, it's just numbers, so it's not actually reflecting specific money, so that $815,000 is still in our checking, in our banking, it's just where it's reflected in the program.
Is there a way then that you could establish a separate money market account just for this $815,000?
Yes,
So when we draw off of that for the mitigation projects, for the two that we have in hand right now, and for future mitigation projects, and we can draw off that $815,000 and see how much is left
yes,
I have to do this on at least a quarterly basis, if not a weekly basis, because I found out some more information today. Once those projects start, you're gonna want updates when we start drawing down money.
okay,
I just wonder whether you could just add another account here in the accounting system that said 18-1 or 20-1. FEMA, give it another name or something like that, rather than putting it in a separate bank account.
I think John might be able to.
Yeah, what do you
help
think,
us
John?
out.
So the town used to have separate checking accounts.
Yeah.
And it was tough to keep track of. And if the, if everything is up to date and accurate in the the bookkeeping account, virtually you have a separate account, but you have the best of both worlds. You have the money in one place, but you also have it, clearly delineated in terms of what it should be used for. So it's possible there's a mistake, and I would suggest just investigating that first and figure out what that 27 or whatever it is, $1,000 is before deciding whether to move it into a separate account. If you have to move it into a separate account, there's something else wrong that needs to be looked at in terms of the software and the way it's set up. It's sacred in one place and not touched unless, the town says touch it.
But NIMRIC would allow us to add another line item, is the only word I can come up with to describe that, for these specific mitigation projects, right?
Sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
which was the intent with this one.
Okay.
So I think it is just a miscalculation on my part in NIMRIC.
Right,
Yeah.
but I think that, and stop me if I'm not making sense, but it might make sense to add one for a mitigation project, because the FEMA flooding 2023 can include other projects besides Town Highway 23 and Town Highway 24,
It does.
which is what the 815,000 is for. So if NIMRIC allowed us to create one for Town Highway 23 and 24, then that would 815 would be reflected every time we looked at these, at this. And then that might be useful for Skip.
I didn't necessarily mean a physical account at the Union Bank.
Oh, okay, I thought it was
Right.
money market account.
Misunderstood.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Account. in the-
Just
yeah.
an account that might say
Yeah.
mitigation or disaster 4720.
So what we're talking about is having a mitigation fund specifically, and then a 2023 and 2024 flood account. So essentially separating what we're going to be using for the actual cost of the repairs that we need to make, and then the leftover as well.
That's correct. Yeah,
Oh,
so
yes.
so
What's
that
this?
$815,000, once the bills are paid.
Yeah.
We're going to have $510,000 left over.
Yep.
Because those two projects are fixed contracts, so they can't charge anything more.
And we want an account to reflect that
That's
leftover.
right, so hopefully we'll have 510,000 and change left over come August.
Okay.
So with that, well, I'll get into that, but anyhow, you get the essence of what I'd like to have you do, and I can sit down with you tomorrow, Lily, and we can go over this.
I think I've got a grasp on it, but yeah, let's touch base at least over email,
Will do.
make sure, yeah.
What's this Fund 19 that has negative 74,000? Is that the FEMA 2024 where we're owed 80 something dollars?
Well, actually 80,000 from FEMA,
Yeah, that we didn't get yet.
we have not, no.
I just wonder whether
That's part of
that's,
my report today.
okay, I just wonder whether that's
Tell you exactly
what
where
Fund
that-
19 is.
Off the top of my head, I'm still learning.
I think it could be though, because
That's
74,
probably what it is.
yeah.
Brandy had set up two separate. I shouldn't say account, but.
For the year.
Line items in
Yeah.
Limerick to reflect expenditures for 2023.
Yeah.
And expenditures for 2024.
And Lily and John and Skip, when you create these accounts, line items in NIMRIC, can you label them anything you want?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
could have a better descriptor than Fund
Yeah.
19, which when
Yeah.
we're at
Yeah.
a select board meeting, it would
Yeah.
maybe make more
Sounds
sense.
like what we're all saying is we want to have a separate line item for that 815,000.
Yeah.
It's quite important. Because I don't want to go to jail.
Is everything else,
Yeah, you-
is everything else from 23 paid for?
There's one project they're just sitting on, that's an extra $22,000. But everything paid for, yes, you paid Alfie and his crew to do the 2023 project. So what we're waiting for is an extra $22,000 that have been obligated, but we're waiting for the state to send that to us.
Would that be what's showing up as the negative 27,000?
No,
No?
no, that
Is that the-
isn't even in our account.
Okay. But we owe it, but we paid it, and they owe it to us, right? I don't know.
The funds are obligated,
Yeah.
so I suppose you could say they owe it to us. So we should be getting a form, you know, a financial form that I sign, and then a couple of weeks later, Lily should see a transfer from the state into, I don't know how actually that works, but into some account.
Yeah.
Somewhere. So I don't know what that $27,000 figure is comprised of, don't know.
Well, that's what Lily's gonna figure out.
Other items for the town treasurer's report.
No, I don't think so.
Seems like you're getting the grasp.
I do have a
Stuff.
question.
Hopefully.
Lily, could you give us an update on this whole sam.gov FEMA thing?
Yes, so, we're running into issues, not so much with sam.gov now, everything is kind of set there. Where we're running into an issue is, with acquiring a cage code. I won't go into specific details about all the ins and outs. But the last time I talked to a cage agent, I think that's what they're called. She let me know that our town office address wasn't verified under USPS on the website. So we had to dig for the deed. We found the deed today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, wow.
Brandy found it. She found it right away, super quick. So it should, our town office should now be verified with the post office. From there, we'll re-register. I will get another email from Cage, and from that point, I will request what's the word I'm looking for, in-person or not automated registration process where I can actually talk with an agent and they will look through everything and approve us instead of a algorithm or machine doing it, which is kind of the issue that we've been running into.
It's nuts, it's crazy.
Thanks for your patience and perseverance.
Thank you guys. Very coming in very confusing.
All right, anything else before we move on? Thanks, Lily. Appointments. So this would be when we get back to that appointee to the solid waste as well as other appointments.
Robin's been sending out letters, I think, to people asking them if they wanted to be reappointed.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I got quite a few back.
great, good ones, overall.
Yeah,
Yes, all yeses, yeah.
no,
No.
no.
Oh, well. All right.
Who do you have, Robin?
Andrew Delaney for the first constable says he will take it again.
You will?
He will.
Alright,
Animal control, Ed Dumas said yes.
good.
Kim Silk said yes to both the pound keeper and the dangerous buildings.
Good.
Skip Lindsay said yes to the recovery officer. And I'm pretty sure there's another one running, E911,
911.
just those two, right, Skip?
Pardon?
Just those two, right?
That's enough.
Okay.
Oh, you don't want to do solid waste district?
And then planning commission, Michael Gray says yes. Michael Sadler had resigned, so you have an open seat there. And zoning board of adjustment, Rick Cannon said yes, Michael McGlynn said yes by phone. Michael Gray also will do the Conservation Commission along with Chad. How do you pronounce his last name?
Spoilers.
And Michael Gray will do Central Vermont Regional Planning Commission.
Wait, how about fall council?
He has not gotten back to me.
Alright.
And I'm
It's okay.
sure that
No.
all of the conservation committee members were. I'm pretty sure that they'll all. continue.
Paul told me he had to think about it a while.
Oh, okay, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And Pam and Kuda took assistant town clerk. Tom Beards is an assistant town treasurer. John Gordon, emergency management director. We need a tree warden, so James said no.
Hmm.
NEK broadband, CB fiber, is John Reed with an alternate of Michael Gray. Transportation Advisory Committee, Michael Gray said yes. Woodbury Fund Committee, Norman said no. Grady Neal has not responded.
I don't think he's around.
And then Sylvia Jackson Fund, Ginger said yes, Michael Gray said yes, Diana Peduzzi said yes. So I'm still waiting to hear back from the road commissioner.
There's a bunch of Woodbury Fund Committee people too that all expire this year. Alex and George and Gary and
Alex said yes,
Okay.
Gary said yes, Natalia said yes.
George.
I have not heard back from him yet. And I have not heard back from Robin Durkee either.
Well,
So the ones we are missing, sounds like we needed planning commission.
Thank you.
Robin, could you send me a copy of that?
Sure.
Oh, thank you.
oh, how about road commissioner? Did you hear?
I haven't heard back from him.
Oh.
Waiting to see how much he can
Okay,
go.
It was.
He's off. It's too big. I didn't get a time up.
Well,
Are you gonna appoint him?
do you want to be appointed?
I'm undecided. But that's not until, it doesn't happen until July.
Well, it can happen now.
But aren't I working on last year's or something? I'm already appointed.
Well,
Yeah, our appointments go calendar year.
we
I
might
mean,
have
they get
appointed.
done town meeting day.
Really?
Because we always reappoint
After town meeting.
after
day.
town meeting
Right.
day.
Cause after town meeting day, everything goes blank. Yeah,
Okay, I didn't know that.
yeah, I mean, you might have been appointed at one point, you know, because I'm sure you didn't start in March, I don't remember when you started, what time of year you
I
started.
started in October,
Yeah, okay,
but then my second year I was reappointed in July, I think.
no,
I just, Callis was always July, he was
Yeah.
always reappointed in July, but that doesn't mean it's right.
okay, that's right.
Uh,
You're scaring me,
Well, I have a lot of things to think about
okay,
and some to talk about. So, and I don't think now's the time for that.
okay,
You're welcome to appoint me, but it's not, it doesn't tie anything.
right. Right,
So where we
Okay.
do that, how do we need an official motion to do all of these appointments or?
we should,
Yeah, okay.
So when when you're ready to ask to sit down with us, just let us know and we'll have a little executive session.
Sure. Yeah,
But for now,
I'm here,
okay.
I'm certainly here. I'm
Okay.
certainly not gonna.
I'm
leave
checking you off here.
In mud season or winter season, I just won't do that.
Thank you.
So what was that?
I'm verifying that I certainly will not leave you during mud season
Oh.
or winter season.
Okay.
I know how it is, so I
Yeah.
won't do that.
Oh, thank you.
I just have a lot of things to think about and make decisions about.
So. Do we make like one appointment as a, or like all of these appointments all at once, or do we have to make motions for each one of these appointments?
I think we can make I'll make a motion that we appoint Andy Delaney, Ed Dumas, Kim Silk, Paul and Jacob, oh no, Skip Lindsay, Michael Gray,
Rick Cannon.
Rick Cannon, Michael McGlynn, Michael Gray, Chad Woolers, Michael Gray. Pam, I don't think we don't need to appoint Pam, you appoint Pam. John Gordon, Skip Lindsay as E911 coordinator. NET broadband, John and Michael, Transportation Advisory Committee, Michael. And we have three that we know of on the Woodbury Fund Committee. Alex, Gary, and Natalia. Robin?
Yeah.
Okay, and Robin. Okay, and three for the Sylvia Jackson Fund, Ginger, Michael, and me, and I guess I'd make a motion that we appoint them all, and John and Robin are gonna work on a letter that's gonna give them some pointers about that whole ethics thing, right?
Yes.
Second?
Any discussion? Okay, although this will be, I can hand, you have one, a copy of this?
I have it.
Okay, great, so this will be in the minutes, what each of these folks are being appointed to.
It was as well as.
Okay, and if there's no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes for those appointees to each one of these different positions for the town of Woodbury.
Yeah.
And then, Robin, can you create a list for us of the folks that we're missing that we still need to appoint? Maybe for the next meeting, and then we can kind of see if we can
Yes,
figure out. Who we,
and the ones that I've sent letters to that haven't got back to me, I'll send them a reminder.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other discussion around appointments? And did we? I guess the only other thing is that, and it doesn't tie your hands in any way if we appoint Alfie now, the road commissioner, but we didn't do that just now,
Yeah, I thought we did.
did
I did, I thought I
You started with Andrew.
Oh,
I thought
no.
it
we? So I'll make a motion that we appoint Alfred Larrabee as our road commissioner.
Okay. Second.
Discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, there's no other discussion about that. Let's move on to our road, newly appointed, road commissioner. Thank you, Laura.
Bye, Steve. Thank you.
So not really a lot to report. We've been a lot of snow, rain. And now we're into warm temperatures, so we're gonna see mud. And have some gravel on hand if we need it. Off of them, and if we can get into it, it's frozen solid, so. But I think we've got some time, that's gonna, it's still gonna get cold at night, so it'll freeze down. I think we're not in any sort of alarming state, but the roads are gonna change, they do every year.
And the sand held out for the
I
moment.
think we're gonna be okay with sand.
Yeah.
We've still got a bunch in the front, I've been digging sort of in the back to use up as much. Most of the issue is we got so many chunks, we've got enormous amount of chunks this year because of the cold. But I've got it set up so that if we do have to carry some in, we can access it. We can dump off the pile, same as we always do, and feed it from the bottom. So in the event we do need to haul some in, we'll be set up for it.
Alright,
But I'm hoping we won't have to. Meaning that we're already halfway through March almost, and it should be starting to let up on us.
I noticed that gravel has a lot of sand in their yard. You know,
Yeah.
in their construction business, so they probably, I mean, they bring it in for their own plowing business, but
Right,
probably happy to get rid of it before.
They would probably want us to go to the pit,
Do
the
they?
actual pit to get it. Cause they've already paid to truck that in there.
Oh,
And if they sell it to us, they have to pay to bring it back, so
oh.
they would want us to go to
Mm,
the wolf pit to their pit.
okay.
But hopefully we won't have to do that.
Wow.
I'm thinking this warmer weather coming, it's a sign that there's gonna
Mm.
be less snow and rain events.
thanks for keeping home at night too,
Right,
so the mornings will be.
right, yeah. Last meeting, I reported that we had a truck broke down, we got it fixed, it was just, there was 3 electrical sensors that were failed. We couldn't tell which one it was, so we replaced them all and they cured it, so we're up and running with that one.
That was the 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, The grader's all set for a flat tire right now, I'm gonna have to buy new tires for it very soon. It's the second one now since we've had it, that's gone flat, so. It's just time. But other than that, it'll be ready, it's fully chained, it's still got the wing on. Once we get to the feeling where it's done snowing, we're gonna push all those banks back. Cut them right off so that the warm air can get into the roads. Helps during mud season and also allows the water to drain off. So I would say probably in the next week or so, that's it, we'll be starting, we'll go around the whole town again with the wing. Cut that road, stuff down. Yeah. So. That's kind of something, it's a strategy that I've learned over the years is to get those snowbanks cut off.
Mm.
And then the heat can get into the road and also let the water drain off.
Mm.
So that's a priority for us, I think. Other than that, I think we're good. Any questions, any complaints?
Robin just handed us this, I gave Alfie Linton letter about the road posting.
Yeah.
Guess we don't have to worry about that for a while.
Oh, it's in day now.
Make it, what's there?
I mean, it's up to the town. This is just a guideline. It's up to the town to post when we want to.
You, yeah, okay.
But we can, it's getting false. The road already
Really?
gets off
Oh,
after this week. I mean, it's going to 50 degrees.
uh-huh.
So, I mean, we had 5 inches of snow this morning and it's right down to the dirt.
Yeah.
This afternoon,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
it's that sun, it's warm, it's
Mm.
gonna change things.
Is that something you'll just post them when you see that it's time, or do we need to we don't need to talk to you about it, you'll just do it?
No, I'll
Yeah.
just do it.
Okay.
I tried to hold off last year and I got spanked for it, and so I won't be doing that again. So I know when to do it, yes.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of putting the signs up around
Yeah.
and posting this into public places.
Gotcha.
And then, if people ask for exceptions, you can do that on a case by case basis, right?
Yes, yes, I usually let people, if somebody's hauling gravel or hauling some sort of material that's heavy, I let them go when it's frozen. Because it's not gonna hurt the roads, and I watch them. Usually, most people are pretty respectful of that.
Except the fuel trucks and the garbage truck.
Right, well, that's why I've never really supported this.
Yeah.
Because there's only a few trucks that you can hassle, you
Yeah.
can stop from coming
A
on
lot
the
of
roads,
trucks,
there's
yeah.
very few.
Fuel trucks are allowed to go.
Fuel truck, anything service.
Yeah.
Fuel, gas, propane, school buses, elk trucks, which we don't have many anymore, but. Any of those service vehicles. UPS, they all cause damage, but you can't stop them because they're service. So I've found over the years, the only person we can stop is the logger, the guy that wants to bring a load of gravel to somebody's driveway because it's muddy. Those are the only people that you can really.
There's the granite
stop.
trucks.
Granite trucks, we probably have a little more power over them because they're not a service, they can cut down for a
I
bit.
know.
What
happened with the crane? The Bunny's Hill, the guy who wanted to take down some trees?
Oh, it hasn't happened yet.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for him to call me back.
No.
He called me and it's somewhere, his number's somewhere in my phone, but
Yeah.
I didn't have his name and he's not in my phone.
Oh,
So I'm just gonna wait for him. He calls me and then I can schedule it with him for the best time. I think that's it.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, and let us know when you wanna.
Yeah, I mean, it's no rush, but sometime in the next couple of meetings probably.
Be good. Thanks, Alvin.
Yeah. Good luck.
All right. Skip,
All right,
big news.
good news.
Yeah.
So you each should have a, the update. The number one hasn't changed, there's no changes to the report regarding the damage filtrations and. So we're now in the post award audit for the members. So I'm not. We received $315,215.37 from FEMA.
Yeah.
Really exciting. So, and again, once the projects are completed in the summer, we should be able to receive some additional funding from the state. The state has not given us their share of the funds, so the share of the funds would be 7.8%. So with 7.8% of this $815,000, just that lump of money, the state would send us an additional $63,500.
Do you think that when we finish the two bridges, they might send our portion at that point?
Well, if it's just based upon the cost of both projects, which is $304,825, then that number gets reduced to $23,700. So one or the other. It's more than likely going to be the 23,000. So anyhow, that is exciting. So we'll have $510,390 left over to spend on mitigation fund.
So I'm sure Alfie wants to hang around and he'll spend that.
It's definitely attractive. It's fun doing these projects.
You look excited. So now we have to clarify procedures, documentation required to allow these excess obligated funds to be spent. So I just put gee, should a working group, mitigation committee, or an entity be established to identify mitigation projects in town? That was just, for people to discuss. Should an entity be set up? And what you can do for mitigation, there are several items I believe that Woodbury could do. These are categorized as culverts. We could replace any culverts that are blocked or at an advanced age. Undersized. We can also upgrade our bridges to make them hazard mitigation not accessible, but able to withstand another flood. Wastewater and water, we don't have any problem with that.
Skip, when all of these projects need to be engineered.
Well, that I'm getting to that. And lastly, buildings and structures. So I'm thinking that something could be done with the town offices or perhaps even the town hall. Because it gets into part of the building and structures, doors and windows. You know, you could upgrade doors, you could upgrade windows, you could venting, replace with water resistance vents. Furnishing roofs, they even have, so we could put a new roof on these structures.
Huh. Could you put an emergency exit?
Well, if you write it up properly, I suppose you got.
For the town hall?
So,
No, for the town office.
so when it floods, people will escape.
Yes, I have a lot.
So with that, you know, if you're gonna do a project like this, the documentation required is number one, project identification. And you would have to follow this appendix J of the public assistance program. So following that, you would submit a document including project identification, why you want to do it. Then you would have to write a statement of work followed by an RFP if it exceeds $8,000, which is part of our, what is it? Purchasing procedures. So we'd have to do an RFP. And then write a project plan and then do a project closing. So it'd be similar to just what they're doing with the 2 town highway bridges, something like that. So, but number one would be to identify the projects. So FEMA did get back to me regarding this $815,000. So the program manager, Maria Gonzalez, said that once their funds are obligated, in other words, given to the state, they step away. So the state in essence controls the fund, nothing to do with FEMA. Use of the funds, however, FEMA wants to know what you're using them for, hence all this documentation. So the projects are monitored by the state, not by FEMA, but FEMA just wants to be sure that what you're doing follows the mitigation criteria.
What is the monitoring agency that state?
It is the emergency management and the public assistance officer is the person who is like the spearhead to this organization.
Okay.
And the Vermont State Police is the financial officer who distributes the money to the towns. Okay. And I'm talking with my program manager from FEMA, Maria Gonzalez. She's leaving. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll have our 6th program manager.
She's not getting fired, is she?
No, she's just moving on to different projects. So we'll have our 6 to train, which is exciting.
How about those projects like Bailey Bridge Road and the other one over here on the other side of the church? Are those big enough to need design work? Yeah, are they like $100,000 projects or? Yeah,
Probably.
really?
Well, I mean, they're gonna be upsized. You're talking about the 2 culverts,
Yeah, there's
one's
the,
on Church Street
and
and
Bailey,
Bailey Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, those definitely would honor an engineer
Mm-hmm.
and
and
just
a, you know, permit, wetlands permit.
a little more information on those 3, including the village culvert, is that in the culvert inventory, the Valley Lake Road is listed as fair, and the Church Street is listed as fair, and Bailey Ridge Road is listed as poor.
Yeah.
That's the culvert condition. So, and, you know, we have a grant application for the village after the engineering's been done, but those would be projects,
Yeah,
Might
I think for this pocket of money, I think it would be easier to do bigger jobs. With all the paperwork and the cracking we gotta do.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of
Do
culverts.
Bigger jobs for the bigger amount of money, rather than, you know, if you didn't change an 18-inch culvert for.
And there's probably some benefit in having a bigger project that needs to be engineered, have the engineer write the RFP, put it out to bid, like they did on the 2 town highways.
Right.
That makes sense.
I mean, it's $500,000, so it's, you know, know, if each one of those culverts, just for round figures, was 100,000 each, that's 5 culverts.
Yeah.
But if we did 50 18-inch culverts, can you imagine the paperwork and the tracking of that? So that's all I'm saying, it might be better to try to get some of the bigger projects in queue for that.
Especially, well, we've got this. Well, Michael's gonna tell us about the status of the Valley Lake Road culvert. It'd be nice to get one contractor to do all three. Well, that's probably dreaming.
So moving forward, we have requires quarterly reports now that the 2023 projects have, matured, and most of them have been, funds have been obligated and are in our treasury. So quarterly report is due on to March 31st, but they give you a 30-day leeway in which to submit that report. And so in order to submit that report, you have to get onto something called, firms. No, it's not firms, what am I talking about? It's a quarterly report to do, quarter 2 ends March 31st, but they give you 30 days, so it's due at the end of April. We have to log into something called NEMIS, NEMIS, which is the National Emergency Management Information System to prepare these quarterly reports. So that'll be another challenge to get access to that website. And so anyhow, that's really in terms of that 2022. Category Z, which is administrative costs, the labor hours, we're still trying to reconcile that with FEMA. Danielle and I have come up with a certain figure in terms of numbers of hours and costs associated with that. FEMA differs from our figures, so we're trying to reconcile monthly payments from September of 2023. So that's in process. And as I had said, I think at the last meeting, for FEMA obligated funds, we have 5% of that we can apply to category Z funding. So that's 54,000 and change. So I think right now, I know last year, I think I made $3,400 doing this work. So we have significant funds that we could apply for. So anyhow, so we're looking good in that. For disaster 4810, that's a 2024. Nothing really to report. They're still stuck in this hazard mitigation plan cycle. And, I've been talking to Maria Gonzalez today, the FEMA program manager, said, we're going to get these out of there. Because I sent an email saying that we don't want any hazard mitigation done in these locations. We'll just get them out. And she said she'll try and get them out. So number 3 on page 2, Daniel and I continue to monitor the project and respond to FEMA in the state as needed. And then number 4, again, we'll continue to monitor any decrees from the new administration. Like the notice I got from the Office of Management and Budget, or Budget and Management, and the accompanying notification from the Attorney General in Rhode Island. So I haven't received any of those recently, but we're anticipating that we will.
So everything's still froze at this one, right?
They're on frozen.
They're on froze.
Right. Just because of the lawsuit filed by 10 or 11 states attorneys general to unfreeze them, if you want to call it. So I'm not concerned so much with the 2023 disaster, but the 2024 disaster, I'm concerned that FEMA just won't have the funding. But we'll continue to monitor
Got
that.
ours, so
Pardon me?
he's got ours.
Not for 2024. 2023 was great.
Yeah.
So if we have extra, could we use it to plug that hole? Probably not.
Extra work, not mitigation.
Yeah, no. Darn, well.
There'll be no trucks, no painted floors. Any questions?
Can't say thank you enough. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's daunting to think about having to do this. So I appreciate
It's
you
not
guys.
just me, it's Danielle. It's healthy.
Yeah, thank
It's,
you all.
used to be Brandy, now it's Lily. So, you know, it's just I'm the face of the team, I guess. As ugly as it is.
Wait, speak for yourself.
So, any
Well,
question?
Thank you, everybody.
Michael. So I just wanted to let you know about the grant application that we'll be doing for the work for the Valley Lake culvert here in the village. I haven't, I have the forms and all, and I'm gonna be trying to arrange a meeting with the District 6 people. There's a number of different sort of annual forms that we need to fill out before we could start on this grant. They're all very simple. You know, each year, I'm speaking mostly from the past, when we were part of District 7, we would meet with the District 7 director, and they would go over our like annual financial plan, and also a statement of the proposed or possible annual funds that we would get from V-Trans for our Class 2 and Class 3 roads. So there's a few different forms that need to be figured out and then signed by our duly authorized representatives, sorry, select board. So that I'll try to have all of that ready for the next select board meeting. And I'm also going to try to meet with the V-Trans District 6 folks to figure out some of those figures. And but the grant is basically a V-Trans structures grant for the work. The engineering work has already been done, and for the Valley Lake culvert here in the village, and it's proposed that it would be a box culvert. And there will be some stream alteration that will need to be done, just because of the building that's right tight on the bank of the brook, the old store, the little barn in the back. So this is due in the middle of April 15th. I'll be pretty much submitting the engineering and the costs. And then working with the fellow from V-Trans to make sure that everything on the application is good. I did just notice that there's a SAMS number that's going to be needed. So hopefully we'll have that by then also. So this is I'm just getting started on this. And it'll be kind of my focus for the next week or so to get this pretty much prepared. It's pretty easy. I mean, the engineering has been done, so the scope of work, et cetera, it's all there in the engineering. And it's usually a slam dunk that if you've done the engineering with a V-Trans grant, that when you submit the application for the actual implementation of the work, that you get the money. So. But I have heard through my regional plan commission responsibilities that the state is also cutting back on funds for highway projects and other things too. So we'll see. And then just regarding the other two, the grant for the Buck Lake Brook watershed study that was submitted on February 28th. And the Vermont Emergency Management is reviewing it and working with Keith Coven and myself on any additions that they would like to see done to that. And we have until April 15th, middle of April. The town has to submit it through this FEMA Go program. The Vermont Emergency Management can't do it, the CDRPC can't do it. So hopefully this whole confusion that we're experiencing with the SAM.gov and all of the other ducks in a row that seem to be connected to that, hopefully that'll be resolved by then. I don't understand why that's happening. The fellow from Vermont Emergency Management said that Woodbury is unique with this problem, that no, and we've never experienced it before either. And it just seems to be, I don't know why this is happening.
Seems like when you fix one part of the application, they come back with, oh, no, this thing doesn't work.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, it's just, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it almost feels like harassment in a sense. But yeah, I don't understand what's going on with that. But and then the other, work on the Cabot Road, Buck Lake Brook bank that was through the Emergency Watershed Protection Program, that's sort of on hold too until we have all of this resolved. So
Those applications have gone in?
well, the application for the work on the stream bank here with Cabot Road, that's already been accepted. We have that grant, but
So the first one is for the study?
yes, for the watershed study. Yeah. And you know, maybe at a future select board meeting, if that whole thing falls through, and if we don't get the application, there is one project that I would really like to see happen on Carol Ray's property, with putting in some kind of water flow device to control the level of water behind the dam. There are no beaver active there right at the moment, but they'll be back eventually. And that's kind of the crucial thing in my thinking for the flooding in the village is to have the water level in that last beaver pond pretty much controlled.
You're talking like a beaver baffle?
And there is something afoot to actually get help putting that in. I mean, we could put one in ourselves, but there is and I don't really want to say much more about it because it's still being talked about. I don't know if anybody heard the Vermont Public Radio their noon hour show. There was a fellow named Skip Lyle. He's a beaver deceiver professional. They talked a lot about just beaver mitigation on this noon hour show, and then there was contact from apparently there's some kind of beaver committee or something, and suggesting that and Carol Ray has been in touch with all of these people trying to figure out what's going on up there, and that they might have funding available to help the town put something in. So, but that's all just being talked about. So that's pretty much all I wanted to share, just that this grant with V-Trans is getting started. Probably need to sit down with you a little bit to go over some of the other stuff that they require, and I think I'm going to ask for a meeting because we haven't done that since we've been in District 6, so that we can sit down like we used to and figure out town road stuff with V-Trans. And the other two, we'll just hope that we can get through bureaucratic nightmare that we're in.
Yeah, the hope is that I'll be able to make that request to Gage by, hopefully by Thursday.
And then I don't know what the FEMA go, that's another whole other entity to deal with too, which is what started all of this. So,
Well, thank you very much, Michael, for doing all
Sure.
that work.
Sure.
You know what we do.
All right. The next item would be updates and other business.
Had a couple of things to mention that were coming up at some future meeting. I don't know what I did. One of them was another request from Khaki Fells. They would like to have the speed limit on Bailey Bridge Road reduced and to 25 from 35, and I really don't know. I haven't looked up at we do have a traffic ordinance that tells what we can and can't do and when we can do something like that. If we have to do a study, I think we might have to do a study.
I can answer some of that because I had to deal with that when I passed as a select board member.
You want?
So
Oh,
to change the town, pretty much towns, any of their class 3 roads, the standard is 35 miles per hour.
mhm.
And if you want to change it, then you do have to do a study. And then you have to have a hearing, it's the whole kind of legal procedure to and I think you also have to have the state approve the change in order to make that change. It's a pretty lengthy process.
Yeah.
There was a request on Charity Hill Road wants to change it from 35 to 25, so it kind of went through the process, and we had the road monitored for speed, and it turned out that most of the people were well underneath 35 miles per hour. There were a couple of people that were abusing that, and which was where the complaint came from, but most of the people were going 25 or less anyway on the road, so we just kind of let it go, and I spoke to the person who requested that. But yeah, you would have to do a study, you'd have to monitor the road for usage and speed to see if there actually is a problem.
Is there a cost associated with doing that?
No, the monitoring of the road, that's a service that the Central Vermont Regional Planning Commission provides, and there's no cost for that.
Okay.
It's, basically the little cable that goes across the road, and they would monitor it usually for about a week, and it would be both morning, well, it'd be all day long that the road would be, so 24/7 it would be monitored.
Isn't that basically a dead end road? So it's just the property owners that's going across that
I
road?
know, that's why I can't understand
Yeah.
why there's so many.
It is a dead end road, I mean, you can go
There's only like
further.
5 or 6 homes there. And once you get to the top where Khaki and someone across the road from her, and there's another one. Yeah.
Most of it's a pretty steep hill too, so
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
I know,
it
yeah.
Go.
I'd be hesitant, just because it would set a precedent. I think like if you were changing the speed limit for one person because of their request, what do you do when the next person requests it? And
Yeah,
the next
yeah,
person, you know.
Well, now that we know how much work is involved, they might, if they come to a meeting, we'll just explain that that's, for one thing, we can't willy-nilly do it for everybody. I think we have to do some kind of standard.
Right.
It is a standard procedure, yeah, you have
Yeah.
to, there's certain steps. The, the putting down the cable to monitor the speed and weight, etc. That would be what, I mean, when we did it for Sherry Hill Road, but that's all we ever did, and it showed the person who was worried about the speed that it really wasn't a problem. The people were pretty much going at the speed that they were requesting, with a few exceptions.
Yeah, and that's also kind of a dead end road, just,
Well, no,
it kind of goes through, but yeah.
it goes to another town road.
Right.
And it starts off another town road, so it's kind of a.
But the other thing she asked was, what can they sign as far as, once you get past the class 3, and we've looked into this last year, it's not a class 4. it's a private camp road, they can do what they want. They can put a gate, I mean, I don't think they should, but there's only one, the one, oh, the guy came in last year, that's right.
Yeah.
And
There's
he
a
asked
couple-
whether-
Couple camps down in there.
Well,
That,
we
that's
could,
still a dead end, it doesn't go through anywhere.
No.
Yes, right.
Right.
The other thing that she had asked was for a sign,
Yeah,
a dead end sign,
Yeah.
which seems,
but they could do that themselves too.
but that could be posted.
If she wanted it down by 14,
Well, that would be the logical place to put it.
Yeah.
right.
Not a through road or something like that.
No outlet or something.
Yeah, I think it's the new term now is no outlet,
Yeah.
dead end is not allowed.
Yeah, that somebody might take offense at it.
Absolutely, apparently somebody has, because that's not allowed, you can't use that.
That DE
So
or
we're
right?
saying no outlet would be the,
So what,
So then the town could do that. The
yes.
town could pay for that if it's on the town road, but once it gets beyond the town road, then if they
Well, I
wanna
think
put up
that's where
other.
it's gonna be most effective is down by Route 14.
Yeah,
yeah,
Right.
Because
right,
that's gonna let people know this is
Yeah.
not through, you're gonna stop and turn
Yeah.
around, or. You know, and it's not gonna stop everybody from traveling that road, There's still the curious ones, but.
sure,
Mhm.
and it's a public road, I mean, they should be able to travel out there if they want to, but that's not a major expense,
No,
is that, something like that,
Mhm.
no, I mean, we got money in the budget for that, but, you know.
and possibly that might help.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell them to, yeah, come in the next, at a future meeting and we can talk about that then.
Okay.
And the other thing is Nichols Dam Road again, I did send you guys the
Mhm.
email that I got from the Myers and they said, we see that you discussed Nichols Pond Camp Road, at February 10th select board meeting, it was not on the agenda, it was our understanding from attending the select board meeting in 2022 that we would meet again to discuss options for the Nichols Dam Road. Exploring a pent road, seasonal road, etc. That was, so I wrote back to them and I copied you all on explaining what my understanding was from the way we left it after the HED gave up the fight, took down their chain. And it does say that, you know, in the orange book with all the V-Trans rules, it says under 19 VSA 304, number 5, select boards may grant permission to enclose pent roads and trails by the owner of the land during any part of the year by erecting stiles, unlocked gates and bars in places designated, and to make regulations governing the use of pent roads and trails, and to establish penalties not to exceed $50 for noncompliance. Permission shall be in writing and recorded in the town clerk's office. And then next it says, what is a pent road? According to 19 VSA 3014, pent road is any town highway which by written allowance of the select board is enclosed and occupied by the adjoining landowner with unlocked stiles, gates and bars in such places as the select board designates. So I don't know whether having it be a pent road with an unlocked gate would satisfy them or not, so we.
I know we talked about this before, but I forget.
Go ahead.
So the Nichols Dam Road is a town.
Yes,
Owned by the town of Woodbury,
yes.
and that's always been the understanding, except Hardwick Electric Department at one point.
Well, yeah, there's a long story there, but
Yeah, there is a long story.
There were 20 years when the select board had told the landowners up there that they could consider it a private road, but then they never did anything. They never went through the process to make it throw up the road, as we say in Vermont. So after 20 years went by and they didn't solve their problem of the partying and all that, then we realized that it's still a town road and should be.
And Robin found the.
Robin found the old deed, you know, the old map and,
Yeah, from 1915.
yeah, so we had plenty of evidence on our side. HED did what they did and that was a problem for that year, but then the campers and the campers got together and they said they weren't trying to cut off public use of that little beach area, so. Since that one guy with his van moved out, there hasn't been a problem. I think last summer it was just the regulars using it and there were drug sales and fires and stuff like that.
There is a group of people that actually clean up
Yeah,
whatever trash they
Yeah.
have.
Yes, more specifically to your question, so Woodbury considers it to be a town road, Hardwick Electric considers it to be theirs, but I believe the Myers are still considering it to be theirs also, right?
No, where the conundrum comes in is when you get past where HED had their gate last year, their chain, that's a property line. And beyond that, it's owned by either HED or the Myers and they're
Even high.
yeah, EB High, they're fussing about that all the time. I don't think it's ever been.
So they would like a chain, or they would not
No.
like it? They don't, okay.
I mean, they have the gate up at the top of the road, I think they wanted, well, we'll invite them to come in, but I'm thinking they want to be able to close it off in the winter and mud season, just so there's no reason for people to go down there.
Well, ice fishing in the winter.
There is access
But
to.
it's not plowed, I don't think they keep it open.
Yeah, so I suppose I should sort of recuse myself, because I'm also a camp owner up there, but I do understand the situation.
That makes you valuable.
So
Not complicated.
2 years ago was the first year that Nichols Pond was open for ice fishing. And there was a camp owner that plowed the road down to their camp that first winter. And a lot of people drove down, parked on the road, and then crossed people's property without permission to get out onto the ice. There was one person that brought a shanty out and told somebody, one of the camp owners, that they had permission from the landowner to do that, and it turns out they didn't. So one camp owner put up all this no trespassing sign. It was people were kind of upset with, because they could have kept going down to the dam and then access. That's sort of the pond access there. So
But if it wasn't plowed, they probably just went as far as
if it wasn't plowed, and hasn't been plowed the 2 winters since. And there is a snowmobile trail that goes right down to the pond, and that's basically the access to get to the dam, to get onto the pond to go ice fishing. And there's a sign there that requests that people use the snowmobile access, which is also an old town road.
Which V-Trans decided that they want to put that on their map too. So they have done that, they have the.
That was the original road.
Yeah, they've got it on here.
And there used to be a small, there were a few old mills on the brook running from Nichols, and a small, kind of like a village, 4 or 5 houses down below the dam at Nichols, which is where that road went to. 200 years ago, 150 years ago.
Based on what we approved.
So this winter, the gate on the actual road was closed, and there was a sign on the gate requesting people who wanted to ice fish on the pond to use the snowmobile trail. And then there was a sign on the snowmobile trail saying ice fishing access this way.
How did that work out?
The few times that I was up at the pond, there was nobody ice fishing on it. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have to drag their sleds down quite a little ways.
Yeah, you have to haul your equipment into the pond, basically, at this point.
Yeah.
Alright,
So,
thanks for the history.
so we'll wait for the, hear from them or invite them to come in and our meeting and go over all that again.
Yep.
New old business,
Yeah.
one often puts in the no outlet signs.
The what?
no outlet signs.
Yeah.
No outlet.
That he could also install bicycle share the road signs.
Right. Yeah.
You mean you
Well,
mean it doesn't say share the road, it says bicycles use full lanes. Anyway.
Whatever the
Yeah.
Do we
expression
have
is.
those?
I thought you were gonna order them.
Maybe. Great.
No,
We don't have them.
I think we left that without.
I have the information.
Okay.
Or, what the sign says.
Yeah. Is it easy enough for you to order?
I can do it.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
So if you need the location,
That is something I need.
okay, so we have GPS coordinates where they should go.
Do you have that in your computer system? Cause I know Michael.
Michael
has it.
Sadler has it, I'll reach out to Michael
Okay,
and have him reach out to you. Cause he made an exhaustive study.
he did.
Yeah, I'm
That
sure.
may be one reason why it's no longer. I
didn't
was
wanna
pretty
say-
sore about that.
Good decide, got it.
Cause it just got dragged out forever and then nothing was ever done after, being promised that it would happen.
Yeah.
And it's not the present select board that did the initial dragging out of it either, so we're not blaming anybody on the select board.
I did learn.
Or the road person either.
All right.
But I know that he was pretty upset about that.
Town meeting.
Okay,
Things happen, yeah, things change between select boards. I mean, the people up here at the bottom of the Winston's Hill probably thought they were gonna get their road fixed, but then things changed.
Any other updates, other business, new business, old business?
Yes.
Yeah.
No one from, who was the sales manager from Pike stopped in last week, and he says he's gonna be doing some paving in Callis. If we have any paving, he said it could be cheaper than just Woodbury going. So, I have 2 business cards, do you want one of them?
Paving, usually we apply for a grant for,
Oh, okay,
right.
because it's such a big expense.
okay,
So I don't think we got anything going this year.
alright,
I do, speaking of paving, Foster Hill Road is starting to look pretty broken up. And I know that we stopped putting money into the paving fund to help with the HERF fund and the flooding and stuff. We may want to start putting money, and this is a
It's
suggestion.
only been like a year or so since we started.
But we may, I mean,
Right, or also grants, I mean, we could,
Yeah.
we still need our
yeah, and there
share, but.
yeah, there are paving grants, and we did, the last time we did the Cabot Road, we used the paving grant for that,
So then for the next budget season, we would wanna start putting money back into the paving. That's your suggestion?
that would be
Yeah.
my suggestion, to start putting money back into the paving fund again, because
I would agree.
we don't have much to
Yeah.
pave roads, but fortunately.
Well, hopefully you'll help us remember that, but it comes around again.
So I have a quick question for John. We don't have a phone. Should we have this phone stuff on here? On the Zoom information? It says by phone, and there's a number.
Yeah. So that's if somebody didn't have access to a computer or they were traveling, they could dial in by phone and listen to the meeting.
On
Okay,
their own
but we
phone.
don't have to have a phone on this end.
No,
Oh, okay.
It goes through this.
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay, okay.
and it would show up on the screen as just a blank space with a little phone and a number.
Okay. All right, so we had talked about having an executive session with that approved.
Yeah.
Earlier.
Okay. So we need a motion to enter executive session
I'll move that we enter executive session
for reasons of
or
personnel. Yeah. And any discussion? All those in favor, will say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Everybody.
Is the light stop?